Welcome back to AI for Pastors. In this video, we're going to be answering the question, what do we do with sermons that you may spend hours and hours throughout the week preparing and you deliver on a Sunday morning? And what do we do with that sermon after that Sunday's over on the next Monday morning? Does that sermon just get filed away into a drawer and never to be seen again? Is there something more that we can be using this thing that we've spent a lot of hours and prayed over and studied and researched through? How can we continue to use that content to continue to minister to our church? And so in this video, we're going to look at how some AI tools can really make it very simple for us to take the work that we've already done in creating these sermons and really easily turn them into study guides that small groups or Bible studies can then dig deeper into the sermon that you just preached. And this will help bridge the gap between the Sunday morning church and small groups, but it will also help your congregation just dig into the meat of your sermon. And so that's what we're going to tackle in this video. Hopefully you find this informational. Hopefully you find it beneficial, and hopefully this will kind of just give you another tool that you can use to bless your church. Let's get into it. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, we're going to look at several different tools. We have, this is ChatGPT up here on the left, and this is Canva on the right. Canva is a free platform. It's an online designer. It's got some AI tools built into it, but you don't have to use AI in it. But it's just a really easy drag and drop designer that can really help your church make some good graphics. If you're not using Canva already, I would highly recommend you do so. There is a premium version that has a lot more features, but if you're a nonprofit, if you have a 501c3, you can actually get their premium version for free. So I would really recommend you looking into that for your church. So this is a template that's been created, and this is going to be, it's a one-page handout that we want to take this format and we want to update it with content from the prior Sunday's service. So we'll see that there'll be a title of the sermon here, some date information, a brief recap of what the sermon was about. This is in case somebody maybe wasn't there. A prompting question. We want to read the passage together as a group. We want a question about the general reading, and then we want to dig deeper. We want a few main categories, some questions to really allow that conversational growth to happen. Closing application. We got some icebreakers over here, the how was your week, any new developments, prayer needs, answered prayers, hardships, triumphs. This is going to help that relational growth happen within small groups, but then an opening question that would be related to the content of the sermon. So this is, and then down here also a little section for just some memorable quotes from the sermon. And so we have this. We're going to be kind of developing this as we go. Some other things, and we're going to use ChatGPT for this. The first thing that we need to do is, I didn't preach this last Sunday, so I don't necessarily know the ins and outs of the content that was just preached. So what we're able to do, our church, we live stream, but all of our sermons are uploaded to Vimeo. Some churches use YouTube, either one's fine. So this is the sermon from this last week. I'm able to download this video. So I downloaded this video. I did this already, so that way it wouldn't take up time in this video. And then I went to this program called Sermon Shots. If you're not using this platform again already, you should. You can basically upload a video, and then it's going to analyze the entire service, and it's going to create, let me scooch this over. It's going to create some AI suggested clips, and then so say we'll just select this one, and then we're going to do a whole video on this application as well. And what this basically does is it creates short form videos for social media. So if you ever see churches that are putting out little sermon clips and that kind of stuff, it doesn't take video editing knowledge anymore. This program literally does it for you. And so but the reason I brought this up now is because down here there's this little download transcript button. It's transcribed the entire sermon. And so what that's allowed me to do is I now have this document here. This is the sermon as it was preached yesterday from our senior pastor, word for word. Okay, so what this is going to allow me to do here in ChatGPT, I've already created a prompt, and I would encourage you to save your prompts. This prompt is going to be used every Monday to create these sermon guides. So I'm going to open up the sermon-based study guide. This is the prompt that we're literally going to copy and paste into ChatGPT, and this is actually the link to get to this this document. So it's all right here in one file. So let's go ahead and copy this. We're going to paste it into ChatGPT. Here at the parentheses, you're going to see here is the transcript for the sermon, quote. So let's read this. Let's read this prompt real fast. Read this, and we're telling ChatGPT, read this sermon manuscript and provide me with the required details for me to create a small group study guide. I'm going to pull up this template so you can show. Here are the different things that I need. Sermon title, that's going to go here. The main text, that's going to go here, as well as here. Relevant icebreaker question, that's here. Short 2-sentence sermon recap. This will provide some overview in case someone didn't get to hear the sermon. An overview question to be asked after the group reads through the full main text. That's here. 3 dig deep questions and 1 application question. 2 notable quotes from the sermon. Here is the transcript for the sermon. Okay, so that's the full prompt. So now we're gonna copy and paste the full transcript. I'll put it right here in between these quotes, and we're gonna hit enter. Now, the nice thing about this, there are some AI applications out there that will just make in fact, I think Sermon Shots actually has the ability to do it, where it'll just output a study guide. The reason that I don't care for that yet is because I think that there still needs to be a layer of human interaction within these processes. This is not a one-click thing. And so now I'm going to be able to, as I'm going through and copying these different elements, I'm going to be reading them, and I'm going to be maybe fine-tuning them or tweaking them. This isn't to remove the human capacity from this project. It's to give me a starting point to help me. And so as I'm going to be copy and pasting these over, I'm going to be reading them, and I'm going to be is asking myself, is there a better way to do it? But even so, this whole process is going to take, we're doing it all right in front of you, so it's going to take less than probably 15 minutes to do this entire sermon Bible study guide. And so we see that there's huge value here. So even though this is still outputting, we can start working on some of these things. So the sermon title was Him We Proclaim. So we're just going to copy and paste this over here. Okay. This study is based off the sermon preached by, this was Pastor Kent. We don't need all caps. And this was 3/10/24. Okay. Relevant icebreaker question, or let's do main text. 1 Peter 3:15. Okay. Relevant icebreaker question. Can you share a time when someone asked you about your faith or hope as a Christian? How did you respond? Okay, that's good. That's a good icebreaker question. I like that. And again, I want you to see here that the value of this is because this is not going to take your senior pastor having to add one more thing onto your plate or his plate, or even you. Maybe you're the senior pastor of a church. Maybe you just don't have the staff or resources to be able to output these types of materials. Well, now you do, because this is, again, this is kind of being set up in a way that even a volunteer could probably help out with a lot of this. But again, it's prioritizing, being faithful to the text. We're not trying to take shortcuts here. It's just a tool to help us be able to do this more efficiently and effectively. And so here's your short 2-sentence sermon recap. The sermon, Him We Proclaim, challenges us to live out our faith authentically, emphasizing the importance of being ready to share the hope within us with gentleness and respect. It addresses the common pitfalls Christians face while witnessing to others and underscores the need for a life that backs up our words. I like that. So that would go here. Let's see. So we need a sermon recap question still, and this prompt is still kind of in development, so we might even see me interact with this a little bit. Overview question would go here. What does it mean to revere Christ as Lord in our daily lives, and how can we better prepare ourselves to give a reason for the hope that we have? That's a pretty good overview. It kind of encompasses the whole thing. 3 dig deep questions. Considering the 5 points the woman on the subway wished her Christian co-workers embodied, which do you feel most challenged in, and why? Okay, the challenge with that question is going to be is if they weren't there, highly unlikely that people are going to remember exactly what those 5 points were. Unfortunately, it'd be nice if they did, but they probably won't. So we'll either need to add in the 5 points, or in fact, let's do that. So this is, again, just to show you how we can conversationally interact with this prompt. So in the dig deep section, include the, well, that's going to take up a lot of space. We probably don't want to do that. Well, let's just see. Include the 5 points referenced for people who may not remember. Let's just see what happens. Okay, understanding the hope in hard times, the woman on the subway expressed a wish for Christian coworkers to know more about their faith and have more hope in hard times, reflecting on these points. So we see here, this is going to get to be too long. So this is not what we want to do. List the 5 points. Yeah, here's her. I think what we're gonna do. We're just gonna have it list the 5 points, and I think we'll add them over here off to the left for reference. We'll scooch this all down. And you see here, so this is not, we're not taking, this isn't, there's still some work that has to be done here. But as you see, could you just imagine trying to come up with all of this, sit down with a blank sheet of paper? It'd be really tough. Okay, so we don't want to, we're going to go ahead and stop because I can already tell you this isn't prompting what I want. Just list the 5 things she wished for. I just want a list of the 5 elements. Okay, so as that's doing, I'm going to work on a couple things. This is Pastor Kent. He is the senior pastor. We need to find a picture of him. There we go. That's good. Okay, we're going to take this screen grab. We're going to save it. So now we can go here to this. We're going to upload that image. Okay, so we also just got that list that we need. So let's go ahead, and we don't need that. Okay, did we get a quote? Yeah, quote. Don't just say the good news, be the good news. That's pretty good. The best way to keep a good conscience towards God is to live the new life that God has given you to live. Solid. I'm going to use this shorter one because it's going to give us some space. And that should probably be centered. Maybe not. Group those things together. Okay, so here are the 5 things she wished for. Let's put a little, give me a heading to go above this list on the study guide. So we'll have like a little heading. Well, that's doing that. I'm going to jump over here and actually we don't want that. We want to keep it consistent. Let's see. Okay. Five wishes for Christian coworkers. Let's make that a little smaller. Okay, then we're going to add another text box. It's going to mimic this. We want these to be bullet points. Okay, what else do we got here? So we need the dig deep questions. We now have this referenced, so in case we can now use that question. Peter emphasized living a life that allows us to give a defense for our hope with gentleness and respect. Discuss a situation where you found it difficult to maintain this balance. How did you handle it? How could you have handled it better? Okay, that's a good personal question. Okay, we're going to get rid of these headings. I don't think we need those. Okay, the sermon talks about being mature in faith and not just growing old in Christianity. How can we assess our spiritual maturity, and what steps can we take to grow in our faith? Okay, what's our application question? How can you actively demonstrate one of the virtues Peter mentions? And I like that it includes that. That's good. It's a good question. Okay, so now we just need the sermon recap question. I need a question to follow the sermon recap. In fact, I think I had a general question that was good. I think I was going to keep that one actually pretty consistent each week. What stood out to you from this sermon? Did anything challenge you personally? Let's just keep that. That'll be like a weekly, consistent. What stood out to you? Okay. So let's see. So what are we done? We have the title. In him we proclaim. This week's study is based off of the sermon preached by Pastor Kent on 3/10/24. We start with prayer, icebreaker, opening question. Can you share a time when someone asked you about your faith? Hope is Christian. How did you respond? Sermon recap. Sermon recap. Question. What stood out to you? Read 1 Peter 3:15. Let me just double check that was the main text. Okay, so this is a good example here of why we want to be double checking AI. As I look at the bulletin, the main text is actually 1 Peter 3:15 through 17. So that it did not pick that up, and it just kind of condensed it down to 15. But if we're going to be digging deeper, we want to make sure we're going through the whole thing. So that's a good point to just say, if we just had this automatically created, we would have missed out right there. And so this is where we need to be engaging with this as a tool, not as a replacement for our brain. There's a question, dig deep, 3 questions, application. Here's the 5 wishes for coworkers: knowledge of their faith, more hope in hard times, curiosity about the hard questions, behave more honorably, or more compassionate. Quote from Pastor Kent: don't just say the good news, be the good news. Application. Okay, and just like that, we're done. So I can now take this, I can download this as a PDF. And I can print it. I can take it to, I'm going to send it out to our various small groups. I'm going to take it to my small group tonight. And now just like that, in the last, I don't know how long that's been, 24 minutes for everything, including explaining, being able to take a sermon that was preached yesterday, take that same sermon and allow that sermon to create study guides for the future. And now we're just going to continue to embrace and dig into going through this sermon in this way at small group tonight will impact the depth that they're going to get from next week's sermon within the same sermon series. And then we're going to go into it even deeper next Monday when we go through part 2's sermon study guide. And so we're going to just continue to build. It's going to allow the congregation to really invest themselves in the sermon series and dig in and get a little deeper, but also to connect those small groups, which sometimes can feel disconnected from the church, but really connect them to what's happening here on Sunday morning. And so this has just been a really quick demonstration, an example. Again, all of this was done in 25 minutes. If I was doing this without making a video and explaining it as I do it, I could probably do this whole thing in 10 to 15 minutes on a Monday morning. So I hope you see the value here. If you have questions or there's anything in here that you want to have explained more, please comment down below. I'd love to engage with the comments a little bit and answer any questions you may have. And we do have some more. I mentioned already this sermon shot tool about creating videos. Again, content, the live stream's done, the video's done, we have it, and then we can take this tool and have it automatically create social media videos for it. It's not costing us anything extra to do this as far as time or effort. We've already put the effort into recording the whole thing. This just takes place and allows us to clip certain things out and really make good social media content from it. So we're going to do a video on this. We're going to do a video on a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm also going to be doing some like reaction videos to some AI news, and just kind of reacting to some things that are going on within the AI world from a pastoral perspective. And so if any of that sounds interesting to you, make sure you like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, so that way when I post more videos in the future, you'll be updated and you'll be able to come check them out. And so with that, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for the work that you're doing in ministry and your kingdom work of preparing sermons. And I know you want to steward your resources, your time well, and we want to make the most impact you can on your congregants. And so that's my hope, is just to share with you some tools that will help you to do that even better, to be more efficient and more effective. Take the hard work you're doing within sermon prep and let that bless your congregation even more than just hearing it on a Sunday morning. And so again, as always, thank you for joining, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.